The January 6th committee said that it was taking a little bit of a recess, that they weren't gonna have another hearing. They've had 5 hearings so far. They said, we're good until after July 4th. Let's have a barbecue, let's hang out. JK. In fact, they're holding a surprise hearing today in about 20 minutes. If you're watching this in the future, obviously, it's happened. But anyway, why are they doing this? Why are they coming out of recess? It's like they're doing more work than Congress normally does. Usually going on break whenever anything important happens. But here was a tweet yesterday. It's official, the tea is spilled. This is the first emergency hearing of the January 6th committee, and they promise to reveal newly obtained evidence. I did want to note that since the hearings have started, the committee said that they've been inundated with lots of new evidence. This might be part of that, it might not, it is unclear, but we think we know what this is about, which is about a new documentary on Discovery Plus. Sorry, I've just had to, somehow I think we all have to buy Discovery Plus right now, because the news comes as the House Select Panel has been examining footage from documentarian Alex Holder's upcoming 3-part Discovery Plus documentary, Unprecedented, that had access to Donald Trump and the White House at the time of the insurrection at the US Capitol. The committee, which met last Thursday, only said that Tuesday's hearing is to present recently obtained evidence and receive witness testimony. A source tells Deadline, however, that the hearing is almost certain to include footage from Holder's doc, which the committee only recently received within the past week. They were trying to find their login to Discovery Plus. It was a whole thing. There was lots of underscores and capital letters and numbers, and it was weird. And they shared the login, and then they finally got it.
I heard that someone had to call their mom for the first time in a couple months, and they had a long conversation about keeping in touch. But eventually, they got the password.
Totally, they were like, "Mom, 3rd drawer down. It's a notebook. You write everything down in it. It's probably the same password you use for everything else, and that's why you get phished all the time." Anyway, what is interesting about this documentary, and we covered this on the main show last week, but so Alex Holder actually had the full consent of the Trump family and White House to do this documentary, which is generally in the past how they've gotten burned. But again, a family of Fredos never learns. They basically love collabing with the feds. This is just them being like, yes, I kill people. No, obviously that's a mafia reference, but so Holder said that he received unparalleled access and exclusive interviews with Trump, his children, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, and Vice President Mike Pence. CNN reported that Holder's attorney, Russell Smith, said his client cooperated with the committee because there were inconsistencies in statements made for the documentary and those told to the committee. So, are we lying under oath, perhaps? Could it be Satan? I'm sorry, I've got a lot of old references today. There's a lot more which I really like. So, what appears of interest to the panel is whether Trump and his children had planned to somehow stop the certification of the election on January 6th, a potential violation of federal law, and to force a contingent election if Trump lost as early as September. Among the conversations captured on film was with Eric Trump. Ooh, Eric getting a little starring role, getting a little cameo on the phone. Eric Trump on the phone to an unidentified person saying, according to one source familiar, hopefully you're voting in Florida as opposed to the other state you've mentioned. Now, that is not actually about overturning the election, but it does go to show that pretty much every Republican has a separate residence in Florida. We know this, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump himself. Everyone's like, oh, I live in a blue state, but I vote in a red state. Because when you've got money and you want political power, that's what you do. 2 homes.
If this were, what's the point of shoe on the other foot theories? But to take a secret call with the president's son talking to someone about voting in 2 states. If this were a Hunter Biden story, we'd be talking about Laura Ingram's response to it for 3 blocks of the show. But I'm really happy that we are getting this stuff from this documentary. I love that these hearings are very thorough. I think they're starting to have. I was hearing some analysis by someone else the other day that like because there aren't many Republicans involved in these hearings, there's no ability for a lot to be funneled to Fox News for there to be counter programming. So they're stuck between this balance of saying, oh, it's not important. And if it was, and they were calling emergency hearings for some important big insurrection type thing, don't worry about it because what they're saying is nonsense. Not that I'm paying attention or anything, but I know enough to say that what they're saying in detail is not true and Trump is fine and everyone, people asking for pardons and pardons the last moment, that's totally fine. That's a totally normal thing people do all the time. I asked for 6 pardons last week. Just relax. They can't have it both ways. And I think it's starting to hopefully penetrate that audience of people who were on the fence of even January 6th being a horrible moment and potentially a dark day in American history.
I really wish I could cue up the video of Eric Trump crying at the Biden inauguration. It is one of the videos I have on my desktop that I go to when I am sad. And then seeing him cry makes me happy. Do you guys have those videos? It might be like a cat video. For me, it's Eric Trump crying. But I also feel like the entire family was upset because they knew everything that they had done to illegally prevent that inauguration from going forward. It's not just Eric Trump, it is Ivanka Trump, who, remember, to the select committee, to the January 6th committee, said that she was convinced by Bill Barr, former Attorney General Bill Barr's statements that no, Trump had lost the election. She says, yeah, that convinced me. But it seems like that this documentary is showing otherwise, that she actually was not convinced. And here's the thing, you only speak off the cuff and openly with a documentary filmmaker. 2 things. One, you're an idiot and you somehow think this filmmaker is on your side, and that you somehow think good documentaries are just when like an American flag is billowing and then like an eagle passes and then you're like, yes, we stole the election because America, and you're like, yay, that's a great doc. Because you don't watch docs. You don't know what a documentary is. You don't, so that's one. But number 2, they thought they could do this. They thought they could pull this off. That's the only reason they would openly speak to someone, to a journalist effectively, about what they were doing, is because if they thought that they would be reinaugurated, they would be staying where they, put, they wouldn't have to move all of their crap out of the White House. Last thing, this is Graphic 7. Holder also testified to the select committee. The sources said about the content of the interviews. Holder interviewed Trump in early December 2020 at the White House, and then twice a few months after the Capitol attack, both at Mar-a-Lago and his Bedminster Golf Club in New Jersey. Now, notably, you guys, there's one person missing from the January 6th hearings, and that's Donald Trump himself. We have not seen a word from him. He, I don't believe, was asked to testify, has not testified. But we got the documentary, and we got him speaking off the cuff to someone who he thinks is gonna make him look real good. Because again, don't watch documentaries.
I mean, Donald Trump thinks that speaking off the cuff for himself works well in his favor in general. It seemed for a point during his administration that his Twitter account, he just didn't care about it at all. So I'm sure any moment where he is telling on his own rotund behind is a good moment for TV, let alone for potential justice. Well, I know we have TV 14 rules. I'm being careful.
Rotund behind, diapered booty is what I like to call it. Very, God.
Sorry for that image in the morning.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.